Piano-Play-It.com. I'm David from Piano-Play-It.com, and this beginner's piano lesson deals with how to read notes on the bass clef. This piano lesson is a continuation, a natural continuation to the previous piano lesson where I taught you how to read a piano note on the treble staff. So if you wonder why we need two clefs or whatever, I'm going to discuss that in a moment and make everything clear. So let's go. Okay, so to begin with, one may wonder why we need two different clefs for the piano. Why can't we use only the G clef or the treble clef? Well, the answer is in that question. The G clef, let me show you, is where the G above middle C is. That means that here we covered all the notes above middle C in the higher register. D, F, A, C, upper F, and so on. But what happens if we'd like to play a note below middle C? Then we would go under the staff. Yeah, we can do that, but then we have extra imaginary lines. We wouldn't like that to happen. So we're gonna make a new clef, the F clef, and it looks like this. Like a sort of a F switch upside down, so you can imagine this is an F. It looks somewhat like an F, but the other way around, and it has 2 points. The points indicate the second line, so they tell us where F is. That's why it's called the F clef or the bass clef. Which F is this? This is the F under middle C. So if this is F, middle C is here, middle C, and this is F under middle C. So we're already familiar with the second line, right? This is the second line from above, and here we add the second line from below. Yeah, interesting. So it's sort of symmetric. We're gonna see that again in the grand stuff, and it's gonna be more clear. Now let's see what happens with the other note. So if this was F, and F is on the second line, and we go one step lower to between the second line and the third line, we're getting E, which is under F on the piano. D would be right here in the middle on the third line, and between the third and fourth line we're gonna get the lower C. So this is middle C here, and we're gonna play here the lower C. The same goes if we climb. So if this is F and this is F under middle C, when we go up we have G, A, B and middle C. Notice that again that for the middle C we have to paint again to draw an imaginary line. So that's the whole story about the bass clef. Actually, the next thing I'd like to show you is when the stem goes up in a note and when it goes down. So if I draw an F clef, the bass clef, and I draw a note on the middle line, its stem is gonna go down. Everything above the middle line, every note, will have its stem heading down. So, notes that are under the third line, so under the middle line, will have their stem going up. Last but not least, I'd like to show you a few tips on locating the notes faster than you would probably if you didn't know these tips. So if I draw the bass clef and I have here the E note, so F is here on the middle line and E is here, how would I locate this note? It has to take some time, right? No, the answer is not. Because if you look at this note, it is located between the second and the third line, and this note is located also between the third line and the fourth line. So, since I know both notes are located between the lines, I know I actually took 2 steps. So, instead of going from E to D, I went straight from E to C. So, every time you see 2 notes between lines, you know that you have to skip a key from C to E. And this one is D, for example. And if I have this one, I have to count D, E, F, because I jumped between the line. These 2 notes are on the lines, so this one is F. So notes that have a line and a space are called seconds, and we go from D to E. And notes that are going from a line to a line or a space to a space are called thirds. So from D to F or E and G. One last tip. If I have the F, the bass clef, and I have a note here, and I find it hard to count every time from the second line where F is to go down E, D, C, So to go down until find the C, there's another way to try. If this was the treble clef, it would clearly be the A, right? Some people are more familiar with the treble clef, so they know right away it's the A. This is the G in the middle line, so this is A. But in order to translate this note to the bass clef, what we have to do, we take the A and we go 2 keys up, A, B, C. So this note will be the C under middle C. Another example, this note, it's pretty low in the F clef, but if it was in the treble clef, it would be F. So we go F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So it would be A in the bass clef. Okay, so you just go 2 up every time. Okay, so I hope this was clear. It's not that difficult. Many people complain that they are finding the notes in the bass clef more difficult, but I just say it's unfamiliar. If you're used on reading notes in the treble clef, you're gonna get used on reading notes in the bass clef. Now let's move on to reading notes on the grand staff. And we're gonna do that in order to be able to play with both hands. I'll see you in the next beginner's piano lesson of Piano-Play-It.com. Bye. Piano-Play-It.com. Piano-Play-It.com.